veins.
That's how you feel after reading one of these Screenrant articles. So today we have Dragon Ball 20 weirdest things about Trunks anatomy. And the thing about these articles, and this one right here was written by Elliot Figueira, is that some of them on Screenrant, some of the Screenrant articles about Dragon Ball are really, really bad. Very cringy, filled with misinformation. A lot of times they're just completely wrong with the things they say. This one is more so on the side of being very, very weird. So the article is called 20 Weirdest Things About Trunks Anatomy. And the article itself is very weird. And when you think about like weird things about someone's anatomy, you're thinking like the dude's got some kind of deformity or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm over here thinking like they're talking about Trunks having some kind of growth on his body or something weird about him. But when we go through the article, there's like nothing here. And again, some of these articles come off like these writers who, again, I don't even know where they are in the community at all, in the Dragon Ball community, but these writers, I feel like, just have to come up with something, so they just make stuff like this to where it's a pointless read. It's literally a pointless read, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 20 weirdest things about Trunks' anatomy. Number 1, he inherited his hair from Dr. Briefs. Okay, I don't understand how that's weird. Like, I don't get how that's weird. You know, there's this thing called DNA, right? And the world of Dragon Ball, being different than the real world, obviously has different rules. But one of the rules that it does follow is that kids tend to somewhat resemble their parents or grandparents because, you know, that's just how it is. In the real world, your grandfather might look a little bit like you and vice versa. I don't see how that's weird. He's a genius just like Bulma. He's not a genius on the level of Bulma. That's been pretty much established in the series that, you know, Trunks and Bulma and Dr. Briefs are very, very smart. Trunks does have some of that intelligence because he was raised, you know, by Bulma, obviously, but I don't see how, again, what's so weird about this? And what does it have to do with his anatomy, bro? His anatomy's like, if he's got like a third leg or something, or, you know, okay. He has the eyes of a villain. Now we're getting to something to the stupid part of this article, where the article just comes off very dumb. So because he has that serious look on his face, he has the eyes of a villain. The problem is that every character in Dragon Ball has that same look when they get mad. Look at Goku, that look that he gives Frieza when he turns around, and like the look he gave Cooler. Like that's just a look that characters have. So no, he does not have the eyes of a villain. Trunks is stronger than Vegeta in the Cell Saga. Yes, for a time, Trunks is indeed stronger than Vegeta when he's fighting Perfect Cell. What's so weird about that? I don't know. Again, pointless article. It's almost like he wanted to call the article 20 Trunks Facts, but realized there are too many, quote, facts articles out there, so they wanted to call something more enticing. Bulma thought Trunks was attractive when she first met him. I'm pretty sure that's only in the old dub. I don't remember that being in the Japanese version. I could be wrong, but it's definitely not in the manga from what I remember. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a dub thing. Now, it's not just future Trunks. He talks about Kid Trunks as well. His strange failed fusions with Goten. Now, again, I don't understand what this has to do with anatomy. I don't get it. I don't get what this has to do with anything. He talks about how his life is a failure, or he's experienced some failures like the wrong fusions, but how is that weird? I don't understand. The article just doesn't make any sense as far as what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say. He was able to go Super Saiyan at an incredibly young age. Now, that one could actually make the list if we're talking about, like, unique things about Trunks, but at the same time, Trunks, Gohan, and Goten all went Super Saiyan at a very young age. And that was, of course, explained at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z by Vegeta and Nappa about how hybrid human Saiyans tend to have more potential. However, recently, about almost a year ago, Toriyama had that interview about the S cells. And in that interview, he talked about, you know, kind of why these characters are so strong or have so much potential. So I guess that could be okay on the list. I guess that's fine. Moving on, his hair changes color. Now, I've already done a whole explanation about this. One of my biggest videos ever on this channel, which I didn't think would ever be that big, is why is Trunks' hair blue in Dragon Ball Super? And he talks about how in the manga, you know, it changes color, but he doesn't talk about all the other stuff. Like, he says that in the manga, Trunks' hair was purple, but it wasn't. In the manga, it was purple, blue, red, gray. Toriyama changed his mind about it so many times. So, again, that actually could be on this list again, because when you talk about something weird about his anatomy, yes, this is probably the only thing so far that is a guarantee to be on the list, because it is something weird, especially when you have this scene right here of kid Trunks and adult Trunks from the future, and they have different hair. Like, that never made sense to me, and it still doesn't make any sense. So he's based on John Connor from the Terminator. Again, it's one of those, oh, it's facts. And really, it's only the haircut. It's more like facts. He wasn't born with a tail. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I guess that is anatomy, kind of, even though it's not really exclusive to Trunks. Moving on. Vegeta hated Trunks' hybrid nature. Now, I'm a little, it's weird because he says perhaps Vegeta didn't like the idea of Saiyan hybrids because he knew they would have the potential for incredible power. And it's like, well, no, I don't think he hated that idea at all. I think he was happy and surprised that Gohan was that strong when he first overheard it with the scouter during the Raditz fight. And I think he does have pride for his son. Obviously, when you watch Trunks versus Goten during the Buu saga in the 25th Tenkaichi Budokai, the tournament arc, the junior division, Vegeta was very happy when Trunks won. So obviously Vegeta, I don't think he fears his own son. I don't see that ever being a storyline with Vegeta at all in any of the Dragon Ball shows. So he's much older than he looks. Well, the thing is about Dragon Ball Super, and he's not wrong about this, what he's saying, but it's not a Trunks exclusive thing. Yes, Dragon Ball Super tends to make characters look younger than they actually are. And I've said this many times, how Bulma in Dragon Ball Super looks younger than she did in the Buu saga. In the Buu saga, she had like the little crows around her eyes. She was dressed kind of more like an older woman. And in Dragon Ball Super, she looks like, in some ways, even younger than she did during the Frieza saga. I mean, she looks like she's that age again. And it's not really explained. It just isn't. He fought himself. I mean, again, that sounds more like a Trunks factoid than Trunks having weird anatomy. These articles, again, these people just make these articles just to get clicks, but at the same time, they don't ever make any sense. Like, how many Screenrant articles have you read that actually make sense and bring up interesting points? I can't even name a single one, especially not about Dragon Ball. So I just wonder, like, in the back of my head when I'm reading this kind of stuff, I look over here and it says trending now, Halloween, 20 strange things about Michael's anatomy. I'm a huge Halloween fan, and there's only a few things that are weird about Michael Myers, and again, these lists, I guess, articles are just like, it's like a cheap way to make money, but how much money do you actually make? I feel like all this work with all these paragraphs, you could just, instead of picking 20, you could have picked like 5, and it would have actually been a better list, and you still would have got the clicks. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Screenrant tells them to make longer articles. I have no idea. I don't know how it works here. His pupils disappear when he's extremely angry. Now, that's something that we've seen a lot. We've actually seen Trunks do it. Of course, Broly's notorious for doing it, the old Broly. Even Goku did it a couple times. That's a little weird, but I would say it could be on the list as long as they talk about how he's not the only character that has that issue. Because of his human blood, he doesn't like combat. Well, that's true. Again, that is true. That's actually one that, again, that could be on the list. So the further we move down the list, the more we find stuff that is applicable to this topic. But I feel like, again, just make the list like 5 or 7 or 10, options or 10 bullet points versus having 20 and then having like 15 of them not make any sense. You know what I mean? He can hypnotize people with his dance moves. This is totally a GT thing with the Para brothers, but for some reason there's a screenshot of Trunks from Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I really don't know why. I think he's putting this on here as a joke. Obviously the GT thing was meant to be a joke, so it's whatever. Why Trunks is a child prodigy. So here we go where he's like repeating himself. We've already got another bullet point about Vegeta talking about how Trunks, being a hybrid has more potential. So it's like the same thing over and over again. Like here, these articles tend to do that a lot where they have the same thing reworded because they're trying to make it fit a longer list. Like, just make your list shorter, dude, and it'll be fine. Humans and Saiyans should not be able to produce fertile offspring like Trunks. Now, this is a completely different topic. This is more so about how it doesn't make sense that the humanoid alien Saiyans from planet Vegeta, originally from planet Sadala in Universe 7 from way back in the day, it doesn't make sense how they're able, like their DNA matches up with human DNA, and they're able to kind of have like hybrid children. I don't know if I entirely agree with that. He says here that we know that donkeys and horses can create offspring, but they won't be fertile. Now, I don't know anything about donkeys and horses. If you're out there and you're a farmer watching this video, leave a comment and let me know if that's true. But he's basically saying that, you know, it doesn't make sense that these aliens are able to reproduce with human women. And I get that. I actually understand where he's coming from, but what does that have to do with Trunks? It's just he's an example. Gohan did it first. Gohan was created before Trunks. If anything, that's a weird thing about Gohan. But I'll bet you what this dude's going to do is he'll take this very same point and he'll bring it up in the Gohan anatomy article. See what I'm saying? And then make it into a different point. Number 2, Trunks has his own unique form. He's talking about Rage, you know, and it talks about, you know, has attributes of blue, but it's Trunks, you know, with a mixture of gold and blue. Yeah, I mean, again, that is true. Yes, he is correct. Rage, as of right now, is exclusive to Future Trunks. So, I mean, that is true. And then number 1, Future Trunks has healing abilities. Now, what he's talking about, because a lot of folks might not know this if you haven't read the Dragon Ball Super manga, is that Future Trunks did indeed train with Supreme Kai. That did happen. He did train with Supreme Kai, but and as a result of that, he trained with Supreme Kai in the anime version too, but there's a big difference. In the manga version, he was trained to be a Supreme Kai, or a Kai, and he learned how to heal. Again, it's a weird Toyotaro addition that really didn't add anything to the story except for the couple times that he actually used it. But there is truth to it in that, yes, in the manga, Trunks can heal. So, at the end of the day, the article is not terrible, but if it was shortened and condensed and had better points, I think it would be better. Some of the stuff up here, though, is just a complete mess. Like, you know, why bring up fusions or stuff like dub lines? And what is Bulma thinking Trunks being attractive have anything to do with his anatomy? Like, was she looking at his, you know, his pecker? Like, what? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Also, the eyes of a villain, that's pretty bad. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this guy, I guess this Elliot Figuera guy just wants to make articles about people's anatomy without really talking about their anatomy. So, alright. Anyways, Screenrant continues to put out subpar, to say the least, articles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.